Broadcasting from deep within the heartland of free America, where liberty still shines bright. You're listening to On the Move with Mac Worley III.
Hello, MacPack. It's great to be back with you for another exciting episode of On the Move with Mac Worley. I, of course, am your host, Mac Worley III. We've got a lot to talk about today. We're just going to dive right in. Today's featured topics: Trump now says he wants to repeal Obamacare now and replace it later. We're going to talk about that. Democrats have found a way to potentially remove Donald Trump from office without impeachment. We definitely will talk about that. And a CNN producer has now been caught on film by Project Veritas admitting that the Russian collusion story was mostly bullshit because it's great for ratings. We have a whole bunch more that we can talk about. Feel free to give us a call. The number to the show is 360-450-5625. Again, that's 360-450-5625. The MacPack phone lines are open. So let's go ahead and just dive right into the featured topics and knock out this first one here. Donald Trump saying that he would like to repeal Obamacare now and replace it later. This is an article on this is on thehill.com titled "Trump Replace Obamacare Now and Replace It Later." Repeal Obamacare Now and Replace It Later by Peter Sullivan. This is dated today, June 30th, 2017. President Trump on Friday said Republicans should just repeal Obamacare now and replace it later if they are unable to agree on health care legislation. In doing so, he appeared to offer support for an idea that conservative lawmakers, including Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, have floated in recent days. Here's a tweet Donald Trump said: "If Republican senators are unable to pass what they are working on now, they should immediately repeal and then replace at a later date." This was a tweet at 6:37 a.m. this morning. The article continues. The call for action comes days after GOP Senate leadership postponed a procedural vote on health care overhaul in the face of sinking support. The conservatives say their repeal now and replace later plan is a way to make sure the GOP keeps its promise to repeal the law before worrying about the harder task of replacement. It's likely a non-starter with moderate Republicans, however, who fear it would leave too many without coverage. Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska on Friday sent a letter to the president calling for the same strategy of passing repeal first and replacement later if Republicans cannot reach a deal by July 10th. Paul has proposed the idea of passing repeal first, then separately working on replacement, and praised Trump's suggestion. So Senator Rand Paul tweeted this at 7:37 this morning, so roughly an hour after Trump posted it. "I've spoken to @RealDonaldTrump and Senate leadership about this and agree. Let's keep our word and repeal, then work on replacing right away." Paul and Sasse are frustrated that Senate Republicans are struggling to move forward with health care reform legislation at the moment. But more moderate senators already rejected this strategy earlier this year, saying that the public needs to know what the replacement is at the same time repeal passes. So I want to talk about this for a moment here. First and foremost, I want to give some credit to Donald Trump. This is something that I support. This is something. First of all, I don't support a replacement in the first place, unless it's a complete free market replacement. If that's what we're referring to, then yes, I support that. But I'm overwhelmed here at how wrong I have been about Donald Trump, and that he is shifting his strategy here, because I think primarily this is because he realizes this is not going to work. His replace plan is failing to get the support that he needs in order to get it passed. And by the way, a little aside note here. it's comical when you listen to the other pundits and mainstream media, things like that, when they start blaming conservatives for the lack of support with this bill, when there's Democrats that won't vote for this. The Democrats are trying to obstruct this, which, personally, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a huge fan of obstructionism in government. I want it all to grind to a screeching halt. So I don't blame the Democrats, because this is going against what they want to do. But I'm just in favor of stalling anything. Slow down the government. I think that's a very important process. Checks and balances and all of that are good. We need our government moving at a snail's pace. So when it comes to this, so I think it's interesting that the conservatives get all of the blame, and there's 4 or 5 of them now that are not supporting this bill. You've got Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, something Johnson. I think it's Johnson of Wisconsin. I can't remember his name, but and I think there's another one now that's not supporting this bill, but I don't know if he or she was a conservative. So, and when you compare that, there's a lot more Democrats who are not voting for this bill, but yet the blame here gets put on the conservatives. I think first of all, it's important that we do repeal Obamacare. And this is one of the few times that we're going to have. I've said before that we're not going to fix a healthcare. I honestly believe that healthcare, the free market of healthcare, is over. And I honestly don't think that this repeal now, replace later plan will work, because I don't think that Donald Trump has it really has his heart in this. Perhaps I'm wrong. But what I would like to see is him to use the bully pulpit if he really does want to get this done. Because the repeal and replace, I don't think it's going to happen. And last week, or actually no, this was Monday. Monday this week, I was talking about how I had a lot of faith that the conservatives would hold the line, and that they would not just go along with the repeal and replace plan. And it looks like I was right. Actually, I think on Wednesday, maybe it was Tuesday, I heard a story that Mitch McConnell had decided to postpone the vote. Remember, they were supposed to be voting on this plan on Thursday, yesterday. They were supposed to be voting on this plan yesterday. And we saw a similar thing that happened with the House. They postponed the vote. They pushed it back. They took it off the table to be voted on here. So, and again, it's very, very unpopular, extremely unpopular. So, the plan itself, even among Republicans here. Let's look at Republican, GOP healthcare replacement plan popularity. All right, I'm just curious what this is going to show us here. Okay, here's a poll on The Hill. It's loading. TheHill.com poll. Just 17% of voters back Obamacare repeal plan. So this is in reference to, let's see when this date was here, March 23rd, 17. So first of all, 17%. And people don't even know what was in it at that time. This may have been referring to the House plan. Let's see here. A majority of American voters oppose the Republicans' plan to repeal and replace Obamacare, while very few voters support it, a new poll finds. A poll published Thursday by Quinnipiac University, that's a pretty reputable pollster, by the way, found that 56% of voters disapprove of the GOP healthcare plan, while 17% support it. Even among Republicans, only 41% support the American Health Care Act, while 24% oppose it. And 80% of Democrats and 58% of independent voters disapprove of the plan. So I just feel like we're repeating The same things that the Democrats did. By the way, I'm just curious, for those of you out there in listener land, how do you think that it went over for the Democrats when they decided to go ahead and shove a extremely unpopular piece of legislation, changing, what is it, a third of our economy, if I remember? Maybe it's a fifth of our economy? I think the healthcare. Huge portion of the American economy. Did all of this, shoving this very unpopular, even at the time, legislation down the American people's throat. And they did this all without a single Republican vote. All right, how did that work out for them? All right, the Republicans are now repeating the same things that the Democrats did. They shoved this thing through without any of the opposite party's votes. Okay, they have they hid it. They tried to obfuscate what was in it. They tried to avoid showing it. Tried to play games to avoid getting a CBO score before it was being voted on. They did all of the same. The Republicans are doing everything that the Democrats did. And again, I ask you, how did that work out for them? Right now, America we're in some trouble, honestly, because I don't know what's going to happen in 2020 when it's time to vote again, or 2018 even, because we are now going to be choosing in this two-party system that we have. We're going to be choosing between one party that the soul of this party is being fought over right now between the extreme left-wing radicals. We're talking about the Democrats, the socialists, the communists. They're fighting for power inside of the Democrat Party, and I believe that they're winning. I believe that the radicals have taken over the Democrat Party. I mean, where are the moderates over there? What moderate Democrats are there? And on the other side, the GOP, we have another party who is not going to follow through with their major campaign promise of repealing Obamacare. You know, the one that they did symbolic votes on, what was it, like 1,000 times? I'm not making that up. I think it was about 1,000 times. And now we can't get this passed. We happen to have. I remember. I'm old enough to remember when we were told, you know, we can't get stuff done when we just have the House. We need to have the Senate too. Or was it the other way around? I think it was the House. I think we had the House. Yes, we did. Okay, so we needed the Senate as well. We won the Senate. But then we needed the presidency. And they wouldn't do anything. We needed the presidency. We couldn't get anything done because, of course, Obama just would not sign it. So we needed the presidency. Okay, well, let's look around. What do we got? We got, we have the House. We got the Senate. Yeah. Let me do some math here. Carry the one. Yeah. Oh, and we have the presidency. Okay. We also happen to be in a situation here where Republicans have essentially landslid. Is that how you say that past tense? Landslided? No, landslide. So the Republicans have won in landslide victories as far as the governorships, and this country has turned red across the board. It's in large swaths. The Democrats are losing like crazy. But if they don't follow through with this simple promise of repealing Obamacare, it wasn't up until recently in this election cycle that we were talking about repealing and replacing. But for 8 long years, we have been talking about repealing. And I promise you, if the Republicans don't get their crap together, this is going to blow up in their face. This was the major campaign promise of every single GOP representative in office right now. So right now, if they don't get their crap together and actually try to repeal before they replace, and by the way, if they do that, there's no way a replacement is going to go through. There's absolutely no way, because there isn't political will to replace. Clearly, again, only 41% of only 41% of Republicans support the American Health Care Act. 80% of Democrats. I don't know about you guys, but are you a fan of shoving down legislation without bipartisan support? I'm not. I happen to think that if you want to do anything in Congress, we should have to have a supermajority. Unless you're removing laws, if you want to pass a new law, you have to have supermajority. If you want to take away a law, maybe just a majority on that. That's my opinion. And I also think that every single law should have a sunset. I think that should be a constitutional amendment. That if you want to pass a law, that's great. In 8 years, if you don't vote for it again and affirmatively pass it, not just you have to vote it down, but affirmatively pass it again, then this law goes away. Every 8 years. Primarily, I want Congress to be so freaking busy trying to keep the laws that they have on the books that they can't add new ones. Because we've got enough. FYI, we've got enough laws. We've got way too many laws as it is. So, when it comes to this repeal now, replace later, I support this. I absolutely wholeheartedly support it, because I think if we can somehow do this, and I don't think this is going to happen, but I support it, and I hope it does. I don't think that the moderate Republicans, the Mitch McConnells, the Paul Ryans, those kind of people will support this plan. That's my take on it. Maybe Trump using the bully pulpit can twist some arms, essentially, and get people to fall in line so he's able to maintain his campaign promise of at least repealing. Because I honestly don't think that they are going to be able to repeal and replace. And I'm hoping that I'm right. I'm hoping that these few conservatives in Congress will hold the line. Now, what are the odds of that happening? I honestly don't know. And I'm not going to be surprised if they crumble. But I'm hopeful. I'm hoping for the best. I'm preparing for the worst. I've already kind of thought that this wasn't going to work. And like I said, I don't think that we will actually fix this. This is a long shot, folks. This even though we got our guy, we got the GOP. We got the GOP. It's supposed to be small government. It's supposed to be for repealing Obamacare. We got a majority. We'll see if they can use it. But if Trump can push and push and push and push and beat relentlessly on this repealing Obamacare thing and replacing later, and specifically, I'd love to see him call out specific representatives on Twitter. Why not? Go ahead. Use your Twitter. Call them out. Say, hey, people, call this congressperson. They won't get on board. Blow up their call box or whatever, their voicemail or whatever. That's personally what I think he should do if he wants to get this stuff done. Also, he has in the past talked about campaigning another person against people who don't support his plan. So that's another way he could do that. I think Donald Trump needs to understand the urgency of the situation, and I think with this he obviously does. I think he realizes that this replacement plan isn't going to happen, and if he doesn't do something now, he may never get the opportunity to repeal Obamacare, especially if he's not elected again. Who knows what will happen? I personally think that Donald Trump, with his low approval rating, could very well be a one-term president. And to be honest, I'm not even positive that Donald Trump would like to run for president again. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and cut to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into another featured topic here. I actually would like to talk about how the Democrats are now trying to find a way to remove Donald Trump from office without impeachment. You guys don't want to miss what's coming up next. We'll be right back. Oh, maybe we won't, because my, for some reason, and I don't know if you guys have ever had this kind of thing happen, but I feel like when, you ever feel like when you're like a kid and you're like, hey, look, Ma, look what I can do, and then suddenly it doesn't work. I feel like this sometimes when my computer messes up here, because we've been having nothing but tech issues here for some reason. My commercials haven't been working. Sometimes my computer will shut down on me, but that's live radio. I'm going to try to play a commercial, and it looks like it's working. All right, we're cutting to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the rest of the feature topics. You guys don't want to go anywhere. We'll see you real soon.
Have you visited the On the Move with Mac Worley store? We've got amazing original design t-shirts, hoodies, cell phone cases, and coffee mugs for sale at OnTheMoveShow.com. Just click the shop link on our homepage. You won't want to miss out on the iHeart Open Carry and Bear Arms t-shirts for only $20 plus shipping. Again, just go to OnTheMoveShow.com and click the shop link on our homepage. Your purchases will help make the On the Move show bigger and better. We appreciate your support. Are you an activist who needs affordable flyers or brochures for passing out literature? Or a political candidate who's looking for business cards, logo designs, yard signs, or vehicle decals? Email me, Latasha Worley, for all your graphic design needs at latashaworley@gmail.com. That's LATOSHA Worley@gmail.com. And don't forget to mention On the Move to get a 10% discount on all graphic design services.
Oath Keepers is a nonpartisan association of current active duty military, reserve, guard, veterans, peace officers, and firefighters who will fulfill the oath we swore, with the support of like-minded citizens who take an oath to stand with us, to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So help us God. Join us at oathkeepers.org.
Broadcasting from deep within the heartland of free America, where liberty still shines bright. You're listening to On the Move with Mac Worley III.
Here's an article from peoplepress.org. This is a affiliate, I assume, here of the Pew Research Center. I got to this website from going to the Pew Research Center's website. This is from May 3rd, 2017. I just thought that this would be an interesting thing to read here. Article is titled, Public Trust in Government Remains Near Historic Lows as Partisan Attitudes Shift. Democrats' confidence in country's future declines sharply. This is after the election, so. The 2016 election ushered in a new era in Washington, defined by unified Republican control of the White House and both chambers of Congress. The changes in the dynamics of power in Washington have registered with members of both political parties. Somewhat more Republicans express trust in government today than did so prior to the election, while views among Democrats have moved in the opposite direction. Now, let me just comment on this for a second. My trust in government actually doesn't change much when we get a new president elected. No matter the party, no matter who's in office, I don't trust government, and I don't think you should too. Governments are responsible for a lot of dead bodies, to be honest. Even our government is responsible for a lot of dead bodies. And I'm not saying I'm not talking about the war in Iraq or anything like that. I mean, we could talk about those things, but I'm talking specifically. I mean, in cases like what happened to the Native Americans and things like that. These are things that governments do because governments have a monopoly on force, and governments can use that force, and often do, because when all of your problem looks like nails and you have a hammer, what are you going to do? You're going to hit them. So, the article continues here. For the first time since George W. Bush's presidency, Republicans, 28%, are more likely than Democrats, 15%, to say they can trust government in Washington to do the right thing just about always or most of the time. Wow, 28% of Republicans. That, there's not a huge. I'll just say there's not a huge difference, 28% and 15% between that. But it surprises me that 28% of Republicans would ever say that the government can be counted on to do the right thing just about always or most of the time. Because when has the government done the right thing? The government doesn't do the right thing. If anything, if they happen to accidentally do something right, it's because they've had public pressure, or maybe it was just a straight up accident. They don't do things on their own like that. The share of Democrats expressing trust in government is among the lowest levels for members of the party, dating back nearly 6 decades. Well, of course, Donald Trump, what is that? 37% approval rating. Most of the Democrats are foaming at the mouth to get rid of him. The national survey by Pew Research Center conducted April 5th through 11th among 1,501 adults finds that the overall level of trust in governments remains near historic lows. Just 20% say they trust the government to do what is right always or most of the time. Far more say they trust the government only sometime, 68%. 11% volunteer that they never trust the government to do what's right. I would be falling in that category. I never trust the government to do what's right. I trust that if we make the government do what's right, sometimes they will, but not all the time. As was the case prior to the last fall's election, the public's feeling about government tend to move toward frustration, more towards frustration than anger. Most Americans, 55%, continue to say they are frustrated with the federal government, while relatively few say they are either angry, 22%, or basically content, 19%. On both measures of trust in government and emotional reactions to government, improving views among Republicans and Republican-leaning independents have been offset by more negative views among Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents, resulting in overall assessments that are little different than in previous years. There's also been a substantial change in partisan attitudes regarding the country's future. Overall, 41% of Americans say they have quite a lot of confidence in the future of the U.S., while 30% have some confidence. About a quarter, 28%, say they have little or no confidence in the country's future, up from just 15% in the fall of 2015. So, I would say I have a decent amount of confidence in that. I guess I would fall within the some confidence. That's around 30% there. I'm curious what you guys have. MacPack, what is your confidence level here? Would you say that you have quite a lot of confidence in the future of the U.S., some confidence, or little or no confidence in the country's future? I'm just curious. What's the feel out there? Give me a tweet at OnTheMoveShow, at OnTheMoveShow on Twitter. Let me know what you think. Do you have a bunch of confidence, some confidence, or hardly any, or none? I'm just curious. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to this real quick here. Public trust in government, 1958 to 2017. It's showing. This article has some more stuff on this. You can see. Actually, they have quite a few things on this. I'm going to go ahead and post this on Twitter. If you would like to read the rest of this, is actually pretty fascinating stuff, but we are not going to have time to do the whole thing here. Please feel free to check it out on our Twitter at OnTheMoveShow, at OnTheMoveShow on Twitter. And let's see here. By the way, feel free to subscribe. Oh, you know what? I just realized we haven't done our housekeeping for today. Please feel free to check us out every Monday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at OnTheMoveShow.com. We got a shop on there. Click on that if you want to. If you don't click it. Whatever. And buy our stuff if you want cool stuff. I mean, I'll be honest, this stuff is pretty freaking cool. We got phone cases, hoodies, coffee mugs, that kind of stuff. If you're interested, buy it, and if you don't want it, don't. I'm a capitalist. I'm not here for your charity, but I do want to make a little bit of money if I can and try to put it back into this program, get better equipment. As you can see, my computer sucks. It just shuts down on me all the time. So please feel free to support the program through that. And anyway, and don't forget to follow us on Spreaker, Spreaker.com/OnTheMoveShow. You can follow us over there. You can follow us on Twitter at OnTheMoveShow. You can like us on Facebook.com/OnTheMoveShow. And you can subscribe to us on YouTube.com/OnTheMoveShow. So, okay. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the featured topic here that I promised we were going to talk about here. Let me find it. Okay. Yes. Democrats are trying to find a way to get Donald Trump out of office here. So this is an article on CNN.com, and they're literally looking for any way that they can get him out of office, and they may have found one that they could turn to without impeachment. This is it's all based on the 25th Amendment of the Constitution, and in fact, let me go ahead and bring that text up here so we can read it, and then we'll read the article. Heck yeah, here we go. 25th Amendment of the Constitution, revised in 1992. Okay, here we go. Section 1. In case of the removal of the president from office or of his death or resignation, the vice president shall become president. Section 2. Wherever there is a vacancy in the office of the vice president, the president shall nominate a vice president who shall take office upon confirmation by a majority vote of both houses of Congress. Whenever the president, this is Section 3, whenever the president transmits to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmits them to them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the vice president acting as president. Section 4. Now this one's a little longer here. Whenever the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives the written declaration that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting president. Thereafter, when the president transmits to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that no inability exists, he shall resume the powers and his duties of his office, unless the vice president and majority of either of the principal officers of executive department or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit within 4 days to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Thereupon, Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose, if not in session. If the Congress, within 21 days after the receipt of the letter written declaration, or if Congress is not in session within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 vote of both houses that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall continue to discharge the same as acting president. Otherwise, the president shall resume the powers and duties of his office. Now, I can almost guarantee you that no one today is reading you the 25th Amendment on any other show. So, we're really deep in the weeds here. But yeah, so basically, it's legalistic way that if Congress the House or the Senate can get the basically determine that the president is incapable of performing duties, and then they can vote on it. This is not going to happen. I mean, this is a freaking pipe dream that the Democrats are trying, but they're just grasping at anything. These, this. I just want to point out: would they have tolerated this kind of crap if Obama was in office? I know he was their guy, and if you so much as called Obama a socialist, which he was, then they called you a racist. So I just find it unbelievable that the left is able to get away with this kind of stuff when the right is accused of it when they don't even do it. Do you see the irony here? I mean, it's just really frustrating. Oh, goodness. Okay. Gives me a sick taste in my mouth. All right. Let me read you the story from CNN. CNN.com, Dem proposes panel to remove president if unfit to lead. This is written by Ashley Kellogg. Updated 4:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, June 30th, 2017, the year of our Lord, by the way. Okay, pointing to the outcry over President Trump's latest controversial tweets, freshman Representative Jamie Raskin is urging colleagues to get behind a bill that could potentially oust the president if he was mentally or physically unfit. The Maryland Democrat wants to create an 11-member commission made up of mostly physicians and psychiatrists, more formally called Oversight Commission on President Capacity. The panel would carry out a medical examination and determine whether the president was physically or mentally able to do the job. Two of the commission's members would also be former high-ranking officials such as presidents, vice presidents, attorney generals, or secretaries of state. So what, are they going to get Bush and Obama or something to sit on this? Yeah, right. That would just be crazy. It's a provocative and long shot effort. Yeah, very long shot, considering there's a Republican House, Republican Senate. It's not going to work. And moreover, if these guys are losing it about having a conservative, if that's what they think he's conservative, I don't even know if the Democrats actually think that Donald Trump is conservative. He's obviously not. He's progressive, but I digress. What do you think is going to happen? You get rid of him, we end up with what? Pence? Did they want Pence as president? I'll take Pence as president. This honestly, I don't. First of all, I don't think this is going to this is going to happen. I don't want Trump to get kicked out with this. I think this would not be a good thing. I think this would piss a whole lot of people off. I think we'd be going from frustration to anger. If you remember that Pew Research poll, I think we'd have a whole lot more people angry. I think the better option is you wait him out and you challenge him where? Not in Congress with this use of the 25th Amendment when he's clearly not. He's not incapacitated. He's physically and mentally able to do the job just as much as when he was elected. So the article continues here. It's a provocative and long-shot effort, but Raskin is citing as his legal backup the 25th Amendment of the Constitution, which was adopted in 1967 after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy to establish a procedure in the case of a president is incapacitated. About 24 Democrats have signed on to the effort as of Thursday. 24. They've gotten 24. How do you get 24 people to sign up for this? Obviously, Donald Trump is not incapacitated like John F. Kennedy was after he was assassinated. It's unbelievable. This is just unbelievable. Raskin is zeroing in on one section of the constitutional amendment which allows the vice president to assume powers if either the majority of the cabinet or such other body as Congress excuse me, finds that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of the office. He's obviously able to do that. How are you going to prove that? How are you going to find that the president is? Who's going to find the committee? The committee's going to do that? Yeah. Okay. So the vice president would also have to agree to the assessment of the president's ability. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how power hungry Pence is. What do you guys think? Get me on Twitter at OnTheMoveShow. All right. So let's see here. Raskin is proposing his commission to serve as that body. So instead of being in Congress, he wants to set up a commission. This reminds me of anybody ever read Fountainhead? This reminds me of like that. Anytime I see like a committee just being popped up somewhere, I always think of a Fountainhead. How that older guy was setting up committees like this all over the place. Anyway, I digress. The president could appeal the decision, and a whopping 2/3 of both the House and the Senate would then need to agree on the commission's assessment in order to keep the president out of office. If 2/3 fail to agree, then the president would be allowed to resume the powers and duties of the office. That is insane. So there's no freaking way that you're going to get 2/3 of the House and the Senate. Is that a supermajority? I think it is, isn't it? A supermajority of a Republican House and a Republican Senate. What do they think that they're? I mean, these Democrats must have high hopes for 2018's election. They must really think that they're gonna win here. I don't know why. I don't know why they would think that, considering they've lost tons of ground since the election, and even in these special elections that keep happening, they're losing as well. Unbelievable. Even Democrats don't even like their own party. Now, again, because the Democrat Party is being fought over here between the so-called Democrats and the socialists, the communists, the extreme radicals on the left. And those radicals are not happy with their party. I'm telling you, the next Democrat to run is going to be even more leftist than Hillary was, even more radical than Hillary was. See, Hillary, she dropped the radical means to achieve the radical ends. She tried to change the system from within, and I think she kind of did what all these politicians do. They get into Washington, they get corrupt, they forget why they started doing this in the first place. And personally, I don't think that Hillary Clinton would be proud of who she is now as a youth. I think she would not be very happy with who she turned out to be. But I digress. I think that the next Democrat presidential candidate to make it through there is going to be an avowed socialist. If it's not Bernie Sanders, who knows who it will be. But I think that the next person is going to be very radical. Anyway, the article continues. CNN reached out to the White House for comment on the proposal and has not yet received a response. Raskin, a former professor of constitutional law, first introduced the bill in April, and before this week it had 20 co-sponsors, all Democrats, of course. Another 3 Democrats joined as of Thursday, according to Raskin's office. Amid a heated healthcare debate, Trump made headlines Thursday when he tweeted, I don't want to talk about this. This is talking about the Morning Joe thing. Let's skipping. Let's see. White House Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders argued Thursday the president was merely trying to fight fire with fire, talking about that. Raskin took himself to Twitter on Friday to raise the specter of the 25th Amendment once again. Trump's incapacity must be seriously addressed, he wrote, also posting a screenshot of this bill. Okay, all right, let's see here. The president, this is, who's saying this here? I think this is Raskin. The president should take a break from watching TV and read the 25th Amendment to the Constitution. There are ways out of this, he tweeted, along with a screenshot of more of the president's tweets. Yahoo News reported Friday that Raskin also sent out an email to his colleagues Thursday, just hours after the president's tweets, trying to collect more support for his bill. This is not... Oh, and some of the things that he thinks that is crazy... In part of these screenshots, he's talking about the repeal and replace at a later date. Very crazy. So, okay. Let's go ahead and cut to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to enter into our last segment here. We're going to talk about how a CNN producer has been caught on film saying that the American voters are stupid as shit. Excuse my language. That was what he said. And that basically the CNN has been just doing this Russia collusion thing because they want ratings, and that they think it's pretty much a nothing burger, as Van Jones has said. So we're going to cover that. You guys don't want to miss what's coming up next. We'll be right back.
Have you visited the On the Move with Mac Worley store? We've got amazing original design t-shirts, hoodies, cell phone cases, and coffee mugs for sale at OnTheMoveShow.com. Just click the shop link on our homepage. You won't want to miss out on the iHeart Open Carry and Bear Arms t-shirts for only $20 plus shipping. Again, just go to OnTheMoveShow.com and click the shop link on our homepage. Your purchases will help make the On the Move show bigger and better. We appreciate your support. Are you an activist who needs affordable flyers or brochures for passing out literature? Or a political candidate who's looking for business cards, logo designs, yard signs, or vehicle decals? Email me, Latasha Worley, for all your graphic design needs at latashaworley@gmail.com. That's LATOSHA Worley@gmail.com. And don't forget to mention On the Move to get a 10% discount on all graphic design services.
I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, pledging my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor. So help me God. Join us at oathkeepers.org.
Broadcasting from deep within the heartland of free America, where liberty still shines bright. You're listening to On the Move with Mac Worley III.
We're back. Judith on Facebook says, those Democrats are a bold bunch. She's referring to the Dems proposing to remove the president if deemed unfit by this committee that they want to establish here. Michael says, and yet they seem perfectly fine with that monument to idiocy, Maxine Waters. And Nance says, we should propose to remove him for being unfit and see who gets more votes, referring to Representative Jamie Raskin. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dive into the next featured topic here, and that topic is a CNN producer has been caught on film admitting the Russian collusion story was mostly bullshit, but it's great for ratings. So we're going to go ahead and play some clips here. By the way, I just want to express my supreme gratitude for Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, the work that they're doing over there. I think they're doing a lot of amazing things, exposing, first of all, what the left is doing, and also showing this kind of stuff. I mean, they've done so much work to expose what the radical left is out there doing. So, and here's another of the left-wing media bias, and this is, again, it's essentially propaganda that they're doing over there. Anyway, here's a clip. We'll go ahead and play a few segments of this here and make a few comments on it.
We all recognize he is a clown.
By the way, this is a CNN producer. His name is Jimmy Carr. He's a CNN associate producer.
He is hilariously unqualified for this. He's really bad at this. And then he does not have America's best interests. We recognize his justified crazy.
Would it be fair to question the intellect of the American voter?
Oh, no, they're stupid as shit.
This is James O'Keefe. How are you? Do you have a comment, sir, about the Russia story?
The more CNN constantly,
Okay, so they caught him saying that the American people are stupid as shit. Again, excuse my language here. And personally, by the way, if you're offended by the harsh language stuff, I do apologize. But I've come to the realization that I'm on the interwebs, and I'm not real big on the self-censoring stuff. So if you don't like it, I do apologize. But there's plenty of other shows out there if it bothers you that much. So anyway, let's go a little further into the clip here. We've got a whole bunch more that this guy said. Let's go into it here.
Really think.
CNN, it's an impartial, right? What's the view of Trump in?
So he was asked. The Project Veritas journalist said, "Is CNN impartial?" And the producer here, he says, "In theory."
Like the kind of media circle, basically.
On the inside, we all recognize he is a clown, that he is hilariously unqualified for this, that he's really bad at this, and that he does not have America's best interests. We recognize he's just fucking crazy. I mean, because look, here's the deal, this is a man who's not actually a Republican. He's not actually a Republican. He just adopted that because that was the party he thought he could win it. He doesn't believe anything these people believe.
See, I'll actually agree with that aspect right there. He doesn't. I've been saying this, but I mean, if you're a long time listener, you know where I stand on Trump. I think that he's a progressive. I think that he picked the GOP because, even as this guy says, I think that he thought that he had a chance. Although I don't necessarily think that Donald Trump necessarily ran because he wanted to win. I thought he was doing this as a branding attempt, as more publicity. And to be honest, I think that he was extremely surprised when he won. But I mean, I think that's a testament of how terrible of a candidate Hillary Clinton is. I mean, this cup of coffee I'm drinking could probably beat Hillary Clinton in a straight-up head-to-head race.
Man's on his third wife. I guarantee you he's paid for abortions. He doesn't give a shit about abortion. He doesn't care about gay marriage.
Okay, so he said he's on his third wife. I guarantee you he's paid for abortions. He doesn't give a shit about abortion. He doesn't care about gay marriage, and he's about to go on to say that he doesn't even really care about the budget. No, look, I don't even purport to know what Donald Trump actually does care about, but I do think that the budget is potentially something that he cares about. Money, because obviously I think these are the metrics that Donald Trump is going to measure himself about how well he did. If he comes from the business background, I think that this is probably some things that are probably important to him. But I mean, I don't know. He could very well have not done it. And this is it's interesting that this Jimmy Carr producer is saying that he guaranteed that Trump is paid for abortions. I mean, he doesn't know that. There's no evidence to do that. He's completely speculating.
He doesn't even really care about the budget.
Right.
The man's upping the budget even though he promised to rein it in.
You mean he'd be pro-gay marriage or anti-gay?
I don't think he gives a shit.
Our critics will say Jimmy Carr only speaks for himself. But he told us in no uncertain terms that almost everyone at CNN agrees with his sentiments.
90% of us are on board with just the fact that he's crazy.
What do you mean, 90% on board what? With her?
No, I wouldn't say with her, but just acknowledge the fact that he's batshit.
90%.
So 90% of people at CNN think that Donald Trump is literally crazy. I mean, I don't think that he's crazy. I don't think that he's shown anything to be completely unhinged. I do think that Donald Trump has shown that he likes to create media firestorms. He throws fireballs. This is what he does. This is how he got elected. He's using the bully pulpit, and moreover, he's also using the power of Twitter to his advantage and maybe disadvantage sometimes. Again, I think that Trump would be better off, and this is just my opinion, if he did not tweet anymore. This is not the election. This is not a campaign anymore. You're the president of the United States. I think that, again, sometimes when Trump does things that are good, we should say, yes, good job, Trump, way go. Support you for that. When he does things that are bad, we should say, hey, Trump, stop doing these things. This is stupid, not worth it. You're creating more problems than you're solving, or you're just only creating problems.
My direct quote.
Carr doesn't have a very high opinion of CNN's audience either.
Would it be fair to question the... I don't want to be rude here. Be careful how I put it. You're at least some percentage Irish Scottish. Would it be fair to question the intellect of the American voter?
Oh, no. Stupid as shit.
Okay, so would it be fair to question the intellect of the American voter? And this guy says, no, they're stupid as shit. Look, this does not surprise me as a sentiment from the left. And this guy is obviously on the left. And if you remember Jonathan Gruber, the architect of Obamacare, he said, call it the stupidity of the American voter, but they managed to slide in this healthcare bill that they knew was going to collapse. It was going to come crashing down on itself, crumble under its own weight, and the whole purpose was to usher in single-payer healthcare system where the government pays for everything healthcare related and divvies it out and rations it and gets to determine who's the person that's going to get help and who's the person that's going to die. That's what they wanted. Call it the stupidity of the American voter, but this sentiment is very prevalent. I don't necessarily think that it's on just the left. I mean, I happen to know a lot of people on the right that think this as well.
His harsh words didn't stop there.
Now, and of course, the thing that pisses the White House also, because we actually had that awful woman, Kellyanne Conway, the blonde.
Who's
Kellyanne Conway.
What she look like? Is she the one with
She looks like she got hit with a shovel. Said she looks like she got hit with a shovel.
Said Kellyanne Conway looks like she got hit with a shovel. That's kind of harsh.
Carr reiterated what we've heard from other CNN staffers that we filmed. This is John Bonifield from CNN's Atlanta headquarters. Did you get the location this time? Paul Farri of the Washington Post?
Then why is CNN constantly Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
So this is John Bonifield, CNN supervising producer. He's saying that they're going after the Russia story because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now. And he goes, just to give you some context, President Trump pulled out of the climate accords, and for a day and a half we covered the climate accords, and the CEO of CNN said in our internal meeting, he said, good job everybody covering the climate accords, but we're done with it, let's get back to Russia.
Sorry, the Washington Post.
We're gonna do that again. I just want to reiterate that here, let you guys resonate on that over the weekend here. CNN producer is saying that that they're only covering the Russia collusion story because of ratings. Here we go. One more time.
Why is CNN constantly Russia this, Russia that?
And this is John Bonifield, CNN supervising producer.
Ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now. And he goes, just to give you some context, President Trump pulled out of the climate accords, and for a day and a half we covered the climate accords, and the CEO of CNN said in our internal meeting, he said, good job everybody covering the climate accords, but we're done with it, let's get back to Russia.
Carr reaffirms that it's CNN's brass that wants the Russia story because it's good for the ratings. Money.
It's decisions made by people higher than me, and if they go, wow, your ratings are soaring right now, keep up what you're doing. Well, what we're doing is Russia, ISIS, London terror, shooting in Chicago. That's it.
Carr says it's ratings, and CNN host and political commentator Van Jones says the Russia story is fake news.
The Russia thing is typically nothing but... Really? Yeah. You don't think that... there's nothing there you can do?
It now...
So he says there's nothing there that you can do. Van Jones of CNN. Russian collusion story, big nothing burger. Nothing you can do about it because there's nothing there. And again, there is no evidence of collusion between Trump, the Trump campaign, and Russia, but you wouldn't know it just watching CNN. You'd have no idea. And this whole Russia collusion narrative is falling apart. And you're going to see here this is what I think. You're going to see the left media, the mainstream media on the left, start shifting gears as this becomes more and more obvious that Russia collusion is falling apart, that narrative is falling apart, and they start looking for something else to go to. They have to find something else to be opposed to. More than likely, they're going to be shifting their focus, again, mark my words, on the repeal and replace of Obamacare, especially if we actually try to replace it. They're going to have an unpopular piece of legislation to form opposition to. So you're going to have an unpopular president, an unpopular Congress, an unpopular media, an unpopular bill, and this is I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I think it's definitely going to be interesting. Have the popcorn ready, everyone. But that's our show for today. We're going to be back Monday at the same bat time, same bat channel. You guys don't want to miss it. Don't forget to follow us at our website, or don't forget to check out our website, OnTheMoveShow.com. Check our shop link. We got original design T-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, phone cases, that kind of stuff. If you want to buy it, if you don't. Follow us on Spreaker.com/OnTheMoveShow. We broadcast, by the way, every Monday and Friday, sometimes on Wednesdays, at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow us on Twitter at OnTheMoveShow. You can like us on Facebook.com/OnTheMoveShow. Subscribe to us on YouTube.com/OnTheMoveShow. And follow us on Spreaker.com/OnTheMoveShow. And as always, know your rights, assert your rights, and get on the move.